And she's a filly that showed us quite a bit at home from day one, and we were disappointed with the first run. She came back from that run. She was a bit ill. She was off her feet for a very long time. She's a filly that comes well, and she doesn't stay well for a long time. And when she trains off for a very long time. So we gave her a bit of a break. We let her strengthen up. Washing worked for me one morning about 3 months ago. He said, you know what, give the filly another month or 2 months, let her get stronger. She's a nice type of a filly. Obviously, we've got a shocking draw. She will need it a bit, but I think she's quite a bit better than her first run.
So is there a big plan in mind, the fact that you've booked a guy like Washing who doesn't like to take bad rides?
And she does come from a ready to run sale. I think we've run out of time, but hopefully she can run well, get one more in and try and win and qualify for a race.
Defend your title.
Raymond phoned me this morning. He injured his wrist. He won't be riding. Chad rode her for me first time out. He's going to ride her for me again. She's a bit of a hot filly. She's definitely looking for the ground. She's better than the average a lot of the Argonauts. Also badly drawn, but we're going to drop her out from a bad draw and she'll run on.
Obviously, it's good to have Chad aboard because he's a guy brimful of confidence and he doesn't really fuss about horses that are hot.
He came back since his break. He's riding with a lot of confidence. He's had a couple of winners for Paul. He's doing a lot of work. I see him here 4 or 5 times in the mornings. He's really making a huge effort. I can see he's enthusiastic. And he's not fussed when a horse is a bit hot. He gets him quiet.
Fantastic. Right now, does that mean that he also picks up the ride on Grey Mirage?
He also picks up the ride on Grey Mirage for the simple reason he does a lot of work. Grey Mirage, he doesn't show us the world at home. I'm going a mile more out of desperation because he's definitely not going to win a 1200. Also badly drawn. We're going to use the same tactics, give him a chance and see if he can run on for us.
And then, of course, Derek David is in the first leg of the jackpot on Carla The Rebel.
Yeah, Carla's named after Heinrich Rieks's daughter, Carla. She was with me in Cape Town when we bought the filly and she was unnamed. And we sat there at the table, we had a couple of beers and we decided to call her Carla The Rebel. She's improved nicely, this filly. She won impressively last time. It's obviously not the right race for her. I'm throwing in a deep end, more to see how good she is than to try and win it. Obviously, to me, Sagani looks like a tough nut to crack at the conditions. But the filly's well on 50 kilos. If there's a nice pace and she can get run off her feet early on, I think she'll be in the finish.
And then, of course, Newton Power, who's a horse that's extremely versatile, very talented individual, and looks like Chad's picked up another one, or have you got other plans there?
Sturgeon will ride it for me. Chad couldn't do the weight. She's got 57 kilograms. Sturgeon rode it for me, the penultimate start on a sand, and he came back from Durban. When he went to run in Durban, he came back with a bit of a snotty nose and we brought him back quietly. I think he needed those first 2 runs back. I put a pair of scoops on him just to, he's like an old boy now, just to get him a bit more enthusiastic and hopefully he can run to some of his better form.
But he does seem to rise to the big occasion when you expect him to.
He's a soldier and he always runs his heart out. He tries his very best. Lovely horse.
A very interestingly named horse from the Gary Player stud, a son of Mambo in Seattle, Play Zach.
Play Zach, yes. Gary and myself, he offered a half share to me and I took the half share from him, and then when it came to naming the horse, I said, Mr. Player, you better name this horse, it's time to get him racing. And he played around with a few names, Player, Zaki, Player. He said, let's just call it Play Zach. So it was nice, yeah. But he's drawn nicely on Saturday and he's improving with every run. And I'm expecting a decent run from him. He has got a bit better with the blinkers. So I think in the first 4, definitely.
And we've had one early rain. It's been pretty dry other than that. But you can see greenness is starting to come onto the tracks.
Yes, most definitely. And all the horses will enjoy it once the rain comes and it's just around the corner. And he's a big horse, you know. He's a big son of a member in Seattle. And when the rains are here, he's going to be a lot better.
Fantastic. Then we're moving on to Shepherd 1, who's got the 2 wins and the 3 places under the belt. And if anybody's done well with Toreador, it's you.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite breeds, and she's a hell of a filly, Andrew. She's done very well. She had a few problems which we sorted out. A comeback run after a long rest was excellent. She just needed it. The second run scenario just plagues my mind a bit, you know, and it might be just a bit close from the one run to another. But she's fit and well, and we're expecting a fair run.
Fantastic. And then Storm Warning, the son of Jetmaster. I was a little disappointed in his last start. Were you, and what are you expecting?
I was a little bit disappointed, but I wasn't expecting much from him also at the same token. He came back from Durban, he took that run very hard, and you know, he he had a bit of a snotty nose, and the trip just got to him, you know. And his last run just came maybe a bit too soon for him, but you know what, he needed it, and he's a lot better this time. I'm expecting a bold run from him Saturday.
Funny, you know, Johan Janse from Vuuren said the same thing about his horse called Newton Power, who he took down at the same time. So it's risky, but you've got to go for the prize.
Yeah, I know, for the big grade 1s and 2s, you've got to take your chances, you know. And he was a competitive horse in that race, and things just didn't go as well. He didn't travel well down there at all, you know. So I think he's backed himself, and we're looking forward to the summer season with him.
Okay, and then on to Argomento. If my memory serves me correctly, he's had the 3 runs in July. You've given him August and a little bit of September off. Is he fit and well?
Yeah, you know, Andrew, yeah, we gave him a bit of time off. Also, another horse is going to enjoy it when the rains come, you know. He's a decent horse. We're prepping him for the ready-to-run race in November. And he's done everything that I've asked him, you know. His win last time was full of merit, and he's got a lot better, you know. He's still very backward and childish, and he hasn't learned the penny hasn't dropped with him yet, you know. And I think he's going to be competitive in that particular race with a low mass and a great draw.
Yeah, Agalia put up a very nice first run, Andy, on the sand. I don't think it was quite her ideal surface or distance for that matter. But decent little filly, you know, and she ran 4th that day, and I believe she's tightened up. You know, when I saw her in the ring, they always look a little bit fatter than what you thought they were at home. We're just trying to get these horses in form, but she's come on well, working well, so a definite inclusion.
Obviously, the rain is very much needed. We have had one slight little sprinkle, but still a lot of dust around, and I suppose you have to use the sand to get these horses fit along the way rather than race them on the hard surface of the grass.
Yeah, we do. At the moment, the only only grass track that I sort of trust a little bit is the inside track. It just looks a bit greener, and you know, the horses are coming back reasonably well from there. But you know, good-legged horses this time of year. Otherwise, you know, the smart horses, if you can, you've got to leave them at home. Although for the 3rd race, that's not the case. Well, to put 4, I think, quite nice babies in one race is just like not my style. But they're all ready to run qualifiers, so we don't have the opportunities. They're not sand horses, and you know, we've got to get a win or 2 out of these horses somehow before the middle of October, and it's going to be very hard. So we've got to take our chances. You know, I've got the Captain's Tune, Starcraft Prince, 7 Roses, Dublin Rebel, and it's not a betting thing. Every man for himself, and I hope to goodness one of them could win. I would say the 2 elect would probably be the Captain's Tune and Starcraft Prince. But that's not, you know, not to say that nobody else has got something that can win it as well. So we're just hoping there, but obvious inclusions.
Okay, then of course the son of Var, Sabadell, who's got some very, very good group form earlier on in his career, seemed to have lost his way, but he definitely seems to be on the comeback trail. Yeah,
well, Shane, we've been a bit tough on him, but just to get him fit again, he's had a few starts on the sand. Hasn't covered himself with glory there, but we'd never really expected that. Now back on the grass, 14.50. I think he'll be a little bit more at home, and he's a horse I'd like to get him qualified if possible for the November handicap or the charity mile, and see where we go from there. He's another one though, he would prefer a little bit of cut in the ground. He hasn't got it, or it doesn't look like we're going to have it come tomorrow, but nice horse and a fit horse, so you know, he's not in need of a run, and I think you've got to include him from a good draw.
First class. Then a horse that I always had a very soft spot for him, and he's clearly showered with talent. His Shadow of his smile, this fellow behind us. My view is that he's probably going to be a much better horse on the grass. He hasn't really enjoyed the sand.
No, not at all. You know, he had a second there, but it was a weak second. You know, he's another one. If things go his way, then he's a very, very good horse. When he won his first race, I thought, well, here we go. He's a Guineas horse, but. Yeah. It didn't pan out that way, and he had coughs and little things. He just disappointed us the whole time. We were scratching our heads. So we basically started again with him, and while he's fit to run, I don't think his coat's as good as it should be yet. It's, you know, it's still a little bit wintry. So I'm using this just as a run to bring him on again, but obviously he's laden with ability. So if he runs 80% of his best race, I mean he could definitely win this.
The Ian and Nina Milkwood stud bred Dirty Champagne, the gelding with Gavin Lorena aboard, is your last hope for the day.
Yeah, he is. He's also, his coat's not there yet, but he ran a reasonable fourth on the sand and definitely not his surface. Got a little bit inconvenience at the start as well. 1450 inside track, Gavin up. Not the greatest of draws, but he does drop off them a bit. I think he'd be a runner there, a definite inclusion. But with his merit rating, you're just scratching your head all the time because he's a one-time winner. Giving away chunks of weight to multiple winners, it doesn't seem right. But we're stuck with it. So, we hope Roger Smith has done his sums.